Aion 2 is out, kind of. It's out in Korea and Taiwan, and I played it. But the golden question is, should you play it? Well, let's talk about it. There's a lot to talk about. Now, if you didn't know, this is a very highly anticipated sequel to Aion, a truly massive MMO published by NCSoft way back in the day. And it's expected to have a global release sometime in 2026. For now though, we'll stick to the Korean and Taiwanese version, and we'll go over everything you should know about Aion 2, from its combat to the content to monetization and pretty much everything else. And by the end of this video, you'll know whether it's worth giving it a shot. Of course, as always, everything is timestamped, so feel free to jump ahead to the sections you care the most about. But alright, let's go. Now, before we get into the weeds of it all, I just want to quickly touch on how I actually played Aion 2, even though it's not out globally. The quick and easy answer is that the Korean one is locked behind identity verification using a Korean ID number, but the Taiwanese version is fully open to everybody. You don't actually even need a VPN or anything to play it. All you have to do is select Taiwan as your region when you make an account with NCSoft, and you'll have access to the game. That said though, ping is an issue. It's a real issue, especially since the game is action combat, more on that later, so it's a big problem if you have like above 150 ping. My solution personally is to use the Gear Up booster. Now, if you don't know what Gear Up is, it's a gaming ping reduction tool. It basically allows you to connect directly to a game server through tunneling. Now, does it work for everyone everywhere? No, but for me and for Aion 2 specifically, it reduced my ping by like 70 milliseconds. So because of that, I recommend it highly. It's super easy to get, and they give you a free trial to try it out and see if it actually helps you reduce your ping and make your connection more stable. All you have to do is download it, install it, select the game, select the region, which for Aion 2 would be Korea or Taiwan, and click boost. Like, that's it. That's all it takes to get like significant ping reduction, regardless of whether you're going to be playing in Korean servers or Taiwanese servers. So if you are going to be trying out Aion 2, make sure you grab Gear Up Booster in the description or the comments below, and use my code KETS to get a free trial to try it out with no risk, because it helps you and it helps me. Win-win. Okay, now that we're in Aion 2, let's start with the most obvious thing: visuals and the world. This game is really pretty, guys. Everything is really beautiful to look at. It's not the best looking MMO out there, but the world is colorful, detailed, and unique between locations. And even though the map isn't very large right now, it's still packed with so many different biomes and things to gawk at for a long time. I mean, really nothing feels copy-pasted, even in the early low-level areas. Then skill effects of classes and animations in general are flashy without being overbearing and overwhelming. Plus, I mean, each class has a pretty clear and unique visual identity, which is, I mean, always a great thing. The only part where it really falls short a little bit is, well, the monster design is not particularly impressive. I mean, look, it's fine, it's still solid, it's just nothing special. They just kind of look like generic MMO monsters. All in all though, while it is clearly a step below games like Black Desert Online, Throne and Liberty, and Once Human, the aesthetic is cohesive, the visuals are pretty, and the world is genuinely enjoyable to be in. I mean, what more could you ask for, right? So no real complaints on this front. So the game looks good, but can we even run it? Wow, that's a good question. You guys are really engaging with the class. It's a good back and forth, yeah. Anyway, let's talk about technical performance. Now, I personally can't run Aion 2 on high or max settings, but it runs really smoothly on my mid-tier PC with an RTX 2060 on medium and low settings. Very smoothly, in fact, with basically no issues whatsoever. Medium settings, by the way, still look really good. So on the graphical side at least, the performance is great. No complaints at all. However, on the networking side, oh boy, oh brother, there are serious, major, game-ruining networking issues all the time. Heavy lag spikes, very frequent disconnects, absolutely abysmal hit registration. The list goes on, and that's just scratching the surface. Listen to this. Every night since release, there have been full server-wide disconnects and crashes. Nobody knows why. Not you, not me, and not even NCSoft seem to know what the hell is going on. It could be server load, I think it is server load, but some people are speculating that the game's being DDoSed. But either way, it's on NCSoft. If it's server load, then that's their fault for not managing the load better. If it's a DDoS attack, then that's their fault for not protecting their servers better. Look, I don't want to be unreasonable, because occasional downtime is normal, but the problem is, this is not occasional downtime. This is happening multiple times a day, every single day. I've lost meaningful progress and items because of this. Plus, we're talking about hours of downtime every single day. It's bad, guys. It's really, really bad. But again, the graphical performance is good. Client-sided stuff, pretty good. Server-sided stuff, dog. Absolute dog. Okay, now let's talk about what is probably the most important of the core gameplay loop of Aion 2, classes and combat. So combat in this game is mostly action based with a focus on chaining skills together. Some skills allow you to move while casting and others don't, and you have the ability to dodge enemy attacks. Your basic action combat system. It's not as fast paced as BDO's combat, but it's only slightly slower than Throne and Liberties. So it is still very much action combat. In terms of classes, there are 8 to choose from, each with a pretty clear role. For the tanky classes, you have the Templar, which is your run-of-the-mill melee tank, and the Gladiator, which can act as an AoE melee DPS or an off tank. Then for your main melee DPS classes, you have the Assassin, typical melee DPS, and the Ranger, which is, well, range DPS. After that, you have your magic DPS classes with the Sorcerer for AoE magic DPS, and the Elementalist, which is probably the most unique class, in the form of a Summoner style magic DPS. Finally, you have the support classes, which are the Cleric, your main healer, and the Chanter, which focuses more on buffing, debuffing, and general support, but it can still heal quite a bit. So all in all, there's a good amount of variety among the 8 classes. The only 2 that kind of overlap are the Sorcerer and the Elementalist, because their roles are somewhat similar, but even then, the playstyles are different enough that every single class is a unique experience to play. Now, as for complexity, look, there is some depth, mostly depending on the class. Simpler ones like the Ranger, you're just kind of spamming skills. You're just spamming buttons. But some other classes like Elementalist or Sorcerer will probably require a bit more, awareness and focus, especially in boss fights. But to be honest with you, even then, the overall complexity is, it's fairly low. It doesn't really have the mechanical complexity of BDO or Throne and Liberty, or the strategic complexity of a game like Final Fantasy XIV. But despite that, combat is genuinely fun and engaging. I'll be honest with you, even basic mobs require movement, dodging, and positioning, and bosses require even more of that stuff from you. Overall, I'd say the classes look great, they're unique in their roles, and provide unique playstyles to try out. Combat is fun, and even though the skill ceilings are not very high, it's still actually a pretty engaging system. So the combat is fun and the classes are unique. Great, what are we killing? Well, let's talk about PvE content. The world of Aion 2 is populated by lots and lots of monsters for you to kill and lots of quests for you to do, just like any other MMO. The main story flows smoothly with no real gaps between quests or chapters. I hate it when games force you to do side content to level up on your own so that you can continue doing the main story, so Aion 2 doesn't do that, and that's great. I like that. The story itself though, it's nothing special. Pretty generic, and honestly you can skip most of the dialogue. You're not really going to be missing much. Aside from the main story, even though you're not forced to do them, there are actually lots of side quests that give you worthwhile rewards, mostly in the form of titles, money, and accessories. These accessories especially are definitely good enough to incentivize you to do it without being so essential that you have to do every single side quest. You don't. Now, one very interesting thing about the open world PvE in this game is that a lot of mobs drop items called souls. If you collect 10 of any one monster's soul, you can unlock it as a pet that follows you around, and you can ride as a mount. I think that this is a fantastic idea because it encourages players to go around the map and kill pretty much every single type of mob out there. It's a really cool way to incentivize exploration and engaging in open world PvE outside of just doing quests. Now, aside from the open world content, there are also a lot of group and solo dungeon and raid-like content. You've got expeditions, which are basic party dungeons, the Nightmare, which is a solo boss rush, 4-player dungeons, 8-player dungeons, a Tower of Challenge, which is like a 100-floor instance to fight through, and so on and so forth. Lots of PvE content, and if you're a fan of PvE, you're feasting in this game. You'll love it. The content itself is well made too. Dungeons, for example, aren't unnecessarily long and tedious and focus more on the fun parts like, the boss fights, with interesting mechanics than slogging through waves of hit sponge mobs, which is never fun. The only issue that I have with the endgame PvE content is that a lot of this content, unfortunately, is time gated, meaning you can only attempt them X number of times per day or per week or whatever, which kind of sucks by itself, but it's made much worse with the monetization model, which we'll get to a bit later. For now though, I'm definitely content with the sheer amount and variety of endgame content that Aion 2 offers. and it's definitely plenty to keep you occupied for a very long time. Now, killing monsters is fun and all, but what if you wanted to kill other people in the game? Let's talk about PvP content. Now, Aion 2 isn't really a PvP game. It's not really built around it, and it doesn't particularly try to push you into doing it at all. That said, there is some PvP oriented content. The simplest form are the arenas. 1v1 arenas, 4v4, basically instance fights between queued players. But more interestingly than that are the rifts and the abyss. Now, Aion 2 is split into two factions. You have to choose one before you even make a character. In fact, you have to pick it before you even choose a server to play on. Once you've picked one, the only time you'll ever be able to meet players of the opposite faction is during rifts and the abyss. Rifts are portals that open randomly in the open world that take you to the map of the enemy faction, so you can essentially fight and try to kill them for points. The abyss is kind of the same thing, but instead of happening randomly in the open world, it's like an instance map where large-scale faction battles occur at specific times of the day. Now, both of these are pretty fun. Personally, I'm just not much of a PvP player, so to me, the greatest benefit of this system is that it's optional content that I don't have to do, but it's there if you want to. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about in terms of gameplay is something that I personally love in any MMO, and that is professions and crafting. Aion 2 has a reasonably deep crafting system with 5 total types of crafting: armor smithing, blacksmithing, alchemy, handicrafting, and cooking. Now, all of these types require you to go out and get materials and then bring them back and craft them at crafting stations. There are a lot of things to craft as well, and you will want to craft them. It's not really an optional system because everything you craft can be sold on the marketplace if you have access to it. More on that in the next section. And even if you don't, a lot of things like food and potions are very required items for endgame content. As for gear and equipment, well, the best in slot equipment is actually all crafted. But the way that works, unfortunately, is where the system falls short for me. See, until that point, everything you craft requires materials gathered in the overworld and collected as part of a sort of cohesive profession system. Endgame gear, though, require you to do endgame PvE content to get the materials to craft it. That's bad, because that means that if you want to make the best gear and sell it on the market, you need to participate in high-end difficult content. You just can't avoid it. The crafting system funnels you into endgame PvE content against your will rather than being content that players can do as its own thing. That said though, aside from the endgame gear issue, the crafting system is deep enough and just about interesting enough to be satisfying to play around with. Just don't expect to make any profession your gameplay loop. Like you can't play the game by life scaling. Okay, so now let's talk about something that always comes up with every new MMO: monetization. Okay, straight off the bat, this game is free to play and very pay to win. There's no defending, no way around it. It is just straight up pay to win. There are multiple battle passes and multiple subscriptions that will absolutely give you an edge in game. Not that kind of edge, different kind of edge. I mean, okay, just look at this. Here's battle pass number 1 with lots of items and materials that you can use to get stronger faster, and here's battle pass number 2. Guess what? It also has a lot of items and materials that you can use to get stronger faster. And those are just the battle passes. There are 2 full monthly subscriptions on top of the 2 battle passes. And you know what's crazy? You need to get this first subscription to do even basic things like using the player item market. Without it, you actually just can't list anything you get from any content on the market for sale. Now, if that wasn't already insane, and it was, getting the subscription straight up means that you get better rewards from endgame content and you get to do them more often. Yep, you can literally pay to get better rewards and drops from endgame dungeons, raids, whatever. And these things, by the way, are mostly time gated, which means that you can only do them, X number of times, a day or a week or whatever. And having the subscription gives you extra attempts to do that. I mean, if that isn't pay to win, I genuinely don't know what would be. But you know what? You don't have to just take it from me. This game was so incredibly pay to win that the developers had to post a teary-eyed apology video for how pay to win it is. Remember, guys, again, this is the Korean Taiwanese release. East Asian players' tolerance for pay to win is like 100 times more than everybody else's. And it was still too pay to win for them. That's how bad it is. Now, will it be the same in the global release? Well, I can't say for sure, but to be honest, I have pretty much zero reason to trust anything they say. It'll probably be toned down, especially since even the East Asian players couldn't tolerate it, but it's extremely unlikely it'll be gone completely. So yeah, it'll probably be pay to win. Alright, well that covers the core of Aion 2's Korean and Taiwanese release at a basic level. So the big question now is, should you play it? The short answer is no. Look, don't get me wrong, the game is fun, surprisingly so. Combat, classes, the world, bosses, dungeons, all of the core gameplay is genuinely solid and fun. The problem is that the combination of the silly pay to win and the constant, oh my god, constant server issues completely tank the rating. I mean, the technical state alone is bad enough that I will not recommend this game. And the pay to win is basically just a cherry on top. Your best option, in my opinion, would be to wait for the global release next year and pray, genuinely pray that they fix both the server issues and the pay to win components. But hey, that's just my opinion. I want to hear what you guys think as well. So let me know down in the comments below. But regardless, thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe if you liked it and want to subscribe. But either way, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time.